Hey everyone, it's John here from MCKAY Hockey, back with another video, and this video is going to be on the Washington Capitals and their case to win the 2021 Stanley Cup. So if you are new, please subscribe, smash that like button, definitely leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be doing this for every single team in the playoffs, whether it's for winning the cup or being a dark horse, being a sneaky team, whatever it is. I'm going to talk about each team and their case to win and make a run and potentially win the Stanley Cup. So I'm excited just to get into the conversation, and honestly, for the Capitals, I think they have a real shot here. I'm going to go over some of my reasons, some of my X factors, what I think, and then we'll go to Jeremiah's points. So you look at the Caps perspective. They're 3-4 against the Bruins this year. It's actually funny because the last game is tonight. And as I make this video, it doesn't matter really, right? Like, at the end of the day, if it's even or if the Caps are down by a couple of games, playoffs are playoffs. Season record, while you can use it for a reference, it's very different when it gets into the playoffs, right? So I think for Washington and Boston here, this is probably going to be one of the most competitive matchups in the playoffs. I think it's going to be one of the most fun matchups in the playoffs, one of the most experienced. And obviously the big storyline is Zdeno Chara playing his former team. So when I look at the Washington Capitals and then potentially going on a run, I think that they have a lot of those aspects of a Stanley Cup winning team, right? You look at the defense. Kempny coming back is going to be huge with John Carlson. And then you look at Orlov, who could be huge. We've seen him in the past be a huge X factor. And then you go down the lineup. Can Jensen play enough of the responsibility on the defensive end? I know Dylan's been a frustration for the Caps this year, or at least their fans at points, but I don't think Dylan's been too bad. And then you have Trevor Van Riemsdyk as an extra option. And then, of course, your guys, Zdeno Chara. So you have options on this back end at the end of the day, and Justin Schultz has been a nice addition as well. So regardless of the pairs, if you can go through a top six of Orlov and Dylan with Carlson and Kempny at the top, and then Chara and Schultz, and then you have those extra defense as well, I think you should be happy if you're a Caps fan. Obviously, I think the defense could be better, and the role players maybe are a concern here. But goaltending, you have two options that you're hoping one of them step up in a huge way. And then you look at the forward group. I think the big problem here is Evgeny Kuznetsov, and we'll actually talk about it with Jeremiah here. But Kuznetsov's been a huge problem, whether it's been discipline, whether it's been consistency, whether it's been effort on the ice. But he looks like he's skating around. When I talk about a guy going around on a Sunday skate, Kuznetsov, like that's the definition this year. It looks like he's just not invested. He's not interested. And a few other guys on this team are. I mean, you look at Oshie and what he's gone through, losing his dad and the effort he's put in this year, and then a hat trick coming off of that. And then Backstrom, the consistency there. Ovechkin has still done more than Kuznetsov on one leg with the injury. So you talk about the big players and then adding Mantha into the fold, and obviously Tom Wilson, very controversial there, but you can't say he hasn't put in an effort. So the Kuznetsov aspect is there, and I think they're role players. I mean, Connor Sheary's been very underrated, I think, for a guy like Daniel Sprong. He's been a very nice surprise for the Washington Capitals. And then obviously you look at guys like, I mean, Hathaway, it's no secret, that guy comes to play in playoff time. Nick Dowd is a huge, I think, presence on that fourth line as well. So when you look at the Capitals, I think Carl Hagelin is also fit in well, and with that speed, the ability on the penalty kill, the Capitals have a roster up and down the lineup that can compete for the Stanley Cup. Do you have like three? So obviously we can look at the obvious ones like Ovechkin, Backstrom, Oshie, Carlson. But after that, like what are the key players? Who are the key players that need to contribute at a high level to make the difference if they want to win?
Well, just like the 2018 run, Evgeny Kuznetsov needs to show up. I mean, he's a non-factor this year. He's been 9 goals now. He's had COVID suspension. Fair or unfair. I mean, the NHL had its league thing. This recent one, there's not been any controversy around it, but he has to show up. I'd like to see Lars Eller kind of step his game up to,
another guy that was huge in 2018.
Yeah. And he's been good for the Caps. There's a theme here with the Caps, is like the two guys I named. They need to be way better on faceoffs. They brought in Michael Pekka, former Buffalo Sabres captain, to help with because we were just absolute dumpster fire. I still think they're one of the worst teams in the league. And we're playing Boston. In my opinion, there hasn't been a better faceoff guy in the last 15 years than Patrice Bergeron. So it's going to be, puck possession is going to be huge for the Caps because they're the oldest team. They're not the fastest. They have to play in their own end with their heavy forecheck and the cycle. And that's how the recipe they're going to win. And the third guy is a guy that hasn't been talked about at all this year is Michael Kempny. He's supposed to be back, and he is so integral to skate with John Carlson because you have that left, right. And they just, that was I mean, one of the most not talked about pairings for that Stanley Cup run for the Caps. And it's not like they went through an easy road. I mean, they were down 2-0 to Columbus, and a good Columbus, right? Like Columbus that's not depleted. And then they beat Pittsburgh in 6. And then they go up 2-0 against the Tampa Bay in the conference finals. And then they lose 3 in a row. And then Holtby is incredible. So, and then the goaltending, I think, is, you didn't ask for any specifics there. I think, I've actually been really impressed with both Vanecek and Samsonov. I think they're going to play great.
So do you have a guy? I know it seems like an obvious answer, but Vanecek, I mean, he's had a great year. Is there a guy that you prefer starting and rolling? Like, obviously, we've seen at the Caps, it's been a question mark in the past with different goaltenders. Grubauer goes in, and then Holtby ends up in the net after a game and a half. Do you have kind of a mindset there?
I would say Samsonov would be my pick, but he's been out with the COVID stuff and a little bit flaky. I'm going to guess that Laviolette is going to start Vanecek, and I'm good with it. I don't think goaltending has been the problem for the Caps whatsoever. It's only been defensive breakdowns, and they learn well. I mean, like after every game, they make a lot of mistakes. They come back and usually play really well. It doesn't matter what player. If Oshie is out, that's huge. If Ovechkin is not healthy, and I will tell you, he has not been healthy the entire year. He's skated on one leg most of the year. He's not looked like Ovechkin. And then, with Kuznetsov, if he's cleared by the league to play, I mean, they just need to be healthy. They are defensively, they're so deep. I mean, Trevor Van Riemsdyk is an awesome defenseman. He's a bottom pairing defenseman on any team that's a playoff team. And he's a 7th D for the Caps. They can bring him in. And if Kempny comes back, I mean, they're going to roll 8 defensemen. So they really have to get their scoring from their secondary. Mantha's a nice ad. I really think with his big body, he can really do some damage in the playoffs. And this being the first time he's ever going to get to play, I didn't put him as an X factor because I just don't think the goal scoring is a problem for the Caps. It's keeping the puck out of the net.
If the Caps can beat the Bruins here, can you see them winning the Cup? Can you see them going all the way? And what do you expect from their run?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the only one that thinks the Caps can win a cup. There's a lot of insiders that do think they're a deep team and they have the ability. I mean, they've got to be healthy. That has to happen. And they need to control the puck. The Caps will win the cup if they can win faceoffs. They get the production and the play that we know Kuznetsov is capable of. They have to get, the centers have to play excellent defensive hockey and win faceoffs. They can't be losing, 80% of the draws. It's not that bad, but it's not good. It's, so those are the things they need to do. And they have to play their forecheck cycle game. And if they can do that, I can see them going to the conference finals easy. They're not afraid of Pittsburgh. They didn't do great against Pittsburgh this year. There was a lot of people that didn't think Pittsburgh was going to be in the playoffs. And I didn't think Cody Ceci and Matheson were going to make a big difference for them. And we'll see. Like the playoffs tend to, really amplify a team's weakness. So, and if a team is well scouted and well coached and knows how to exploit them, and Boston is one of those teams that can do that. I believe the Caps are. I believe there are a lot of teams that do those things well. So we'll see. I think, they've got a good shake. They've got a fair shake as any other team in the league right now, right? That's in the playoffs.